So,
Yeah, Boone showed me some kind of an email the other day of some of the changes that they made, so we got to figure out how to get around that. So,
yeah,
anyway,
you
let's
gotta
get
love
started.
technology.
We're going to talk about
Yeah, let's
what?
do this. Let's do this thing. What topic you got for us, Rebecca?
It is growth is simulated when asking why.
Growth is
Growth is
stimulated.
simulated by asking why.
Hmm. I know you love that why question. You love it. I know you do. What do you love about why?
Uh, so I think the why makes you dig deeper in your understanding. And I think in anything that you do, you have your wants, which is great. But if you don't understand your why behind your wants, it's harder to do it. You know, um, you want to grow in this area. Why do you want to grow in that area? I mean, you can, it's kind of like you can want in one hand and the other, and, you know, but I think you
You
have
have
to
to have.
have your whys. You have to know your whys. So to grow, just understanding your whys.
So
But
we have a
understanding your whys, you have to dig deep.
so we have a coaching program called the 7 layers of why. What's the purpose
I
of
don't
that
know if I've
coaching
ever made
program?
it to the seventh layer.
I know you haven't made it to the seventh layer, but what's the purpose of that coaching program?
Well, I mean, pretty much what it says, it's understanding your why. It's knowing why you want to do something, why you feel the way about something, why.
So let me ask you a question. Why have you never made it to the seventh layer?
Oh, so many reasons. Uh, because it makes me think on a deeper level.
It also
And
opens up the
some,
emotion, doesn't it?
oh, usually, because I'm usually either irritated or crying by the time I get to level 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. You do realize that's its purpose. Its purpose is to get to the core of why you want to accomplish something. See, a lot of people don't understand the value of questions in general. And when you ask questions in general, you want to get to the core of something. You want to get to the bottom of something. You're looking for something and you're looking to be able to say, hey, there's a purpose behind this. There's a reason in why we're having this discussion. There's a reason in we're, why we're, doing what we're doing, right? I mean, take a look at the industry that we're primarily in. I mean, we do a lot in agriculture. We do a lot with small communities that focus on agriculture. Um, a lot of my heart and passion is in water, soil health, things of that nature. And if you really dig in and ask why, because I've done this myself. I've sat at my desk with a blank sheet of paper and said, what, Kylan, why is this important to you? Why does this motivate you? And I will write down that answer. And then I will say, well, based on that answer that I wrote down, why did I write down that answer? Why is that important to me? And when you go through that questioning process just 7 times, it gets really deep into the heart of why you're doing what you're doing. It opens up a level of the subconscious that most of us don't understand. Most of us don't have a full grasp on. But when you are doing the things that you're doing, you believe the things that you believe, it's because you have a subconscious element attached to it. It's called your paradigm. And the 7 layers of why get deep into that paradigm and challenge our belief systems. So when you are really wanting to know yourself and know yourself really well, engage in the why process, engage in the deep dive of knowing who you are, knowing why you believe what you believe, and get deep into it. Because when you do, it things begin to open up about you, right? Now that's the deep level. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard, but yeah, it makes sense.
It is hard. It is hard. What makes it so hard, Rebecca? What makes it hard to go that deep into our own lives and ask ourselves why?
No, because like you said, it does trigger emotions. It does trigger, you know, and some of them are good emotions and some of them are hard and tough emotions.
And some of them are just flat out going to tell us that maybe there's something that we're wrong about.
I don't know about that.
Well, I've had to do this in my own life and dealing with multiple different states over the topic of water and the ideas of, the ideas that I was ingrained in years ago, the deep core seated ideas of my belief system have been challenged. And a lot of them have been challenged in the last, 5 years. And in the last 5 years, just the ability of me to open up, across state lines to, government policy, or to open up and hear another person's perspective on digital management, or soil health, or whatever the element is. The last 5 years has been such an intense learning curve for me by just listening, asking a lot of the why is this company exist? Why is this technology being developed? Why is this such a buzz in the farm place? Uh, why is this trend happening? You know, why is the carbon thing turning into what it is? Why? And I've just been challenging myself with a lot of these questions over the last several years. And when you open up the question of why, man, there's so much you can learn from it, so very much that you can learn from it. But if you don't ever ask,
Well,
you never know.
and I think the deeper that you go, the more the more it is that you are to do something, the more it is because okay, so you want to start a business. I want to start a business. Well, why? Well, I want to make money. And I think if you left it at that why, that's not enough. I mean, you would get to a point, okay, well, we're not making money, so we're just going to shut it down. But if you start going into, well, why do you want to make money? Because I want to have freedom. Well, why do you want freedom? Because I want to be able to go spend time with my kids and my grandkids and be able to, you know, while I'm spending time with them, be making money. And, so the deeper, well, why do you want to do that with your grandkids? Because I want to raise them. So the deeper that you go in your whys, I think it gives you a whole lot more um, understanding and it helps you to push further when you're doing
Mm-hmm.
it, same with weight loss. I want to lose weight. Well, why do you want to lose the weight? Because I want to be healthy. Well, why do you want to be healthy? Because I want to be able to chase the grandkids around, or I want to go hiking. I want to enjoy life. I don't want to sit at home and do nothing. And so I think the deeper that you can go, the more understanding that you'll have of it, and the more that you will be able to incorporate that into your life more without the giving up. Because if you just said, I want to lose weight. Why? Because I want to look good. But then it's like, ooh, that cake, one's not going to hurt me. But I think it just makes you more determined when you know your deeper whys. It makes you more persistent. It makes you more consistent. And I think the deeper that you can go, and it's harder going deeper, but the deeper that you can go, I think the more it brings out the want, if that makes sense.
No,
I
it
think I
does.
just talked in.
It does make sense. And those are the things that we have to, really, really dive into and understand at a personal level, you know. And I might add that when Oliver and Everly and I took off on our little after dark excursion the other night, believe me, we got to be in better shape if we're going to chase those grandkids. Just say it. They outrun Papa really fast.
Right now, I yell.
Yeah, yelling doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't work. Okay. Anybody else have a little discussion on this? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this from the Zoom group, or if you're on Facebook, give us your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's chat. Such a
I
quiet
guess I'll
crowd.
jump on first again.
There you go. Way to go, Randy.
Well, as you know, Kyle and I kind of jumped into the coaching space this weekend, helping a client decide if he wants to farm a lot bigger. And I kept asking him, okay, why this? Why that? Why this? Why why do you want to do this to begin with? Because this is going to take a pretty big effort on his part to accomplish this. And takes a lot of revenue that he doesn't currently have. And but the first question I asked him was, "Is your wife on board with this?" And he couldn't answer that question. And I'm like, "You got to cross that bridge first." And because you've kind of been down this road before, and it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't as good as it wasn't. You didn't hit the goal you were planning, so you don't want to do this again because that'll cause heartaches that's going to last for a long, long time.
Him and I ought to get together and write a book.
Yeah,
I could write a book on how not to buy a business and not tell your wife.
yeah. Yep.
How to buy a business and not tell your wife. It didn't work out so well, did it, Rebecca?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
I could write a book on how to sell a business with your wife's permission, and it still not turn out well like you planned.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's a lot into the why. I know David's on an airplane. David might be in a too noisy of a place, but David, you got any thoughts?
Uh,
And
Sometimes I ask myself why am I doing this? Not I don't know, just um, certain weeks away. Obviously, to build something great takes a lot of effort, and sometimes you kind of have to you know revisit your original motives, and um, yeah, hopefully you can hear me.
yeah, we can
So,
hear you.
yeah,
Well,
that's
and David, like visiting your original motives, I mean, just understanding, because sometimes things get tough. Sometimes things get hard and you question, what am I doing? But you go back to that original, this is why I'm doing it. Not for right now, not for this minute, but for down the road. This is why I'm doing it.
yeah, because sometimes you get so sort of wound up in the actual project, you lose sight of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to pan back and take another look.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Brittany, how about you? How about you and I have talked a lot about the why over the years. What are some of your thoughts?
I don't really have any outside of what you guys have talked about. It's super valuable to go down that why rabbit hole.
You want to tell the audience about your new life coming up? Huh?
I don't know, nothing really new is going to change. A little paperwork with the state gets done.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna say it.
Why, Brittany?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Why does paperwork get done at the state? Because they require it for tax reasons.
Yes. Well, it's still a congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very, very much a big congratulations. Those of you who may not know, Brittany is getting married. Yay!
She's gonna have a new last name.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The
But then, Britt, don't you start thinking about, oh man, now I gotta do new business cards. Now I gotta do new, gotta get my social security card changed.
yeah, I've started writing up that list of all the stuff that needs changed. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about business cards. I was going to order new business cards and probably still would have used it's a 500 more of Brittany Bolte.
See, there you go.
Yeah, I need to put that on the list.
Cross it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a marker, cross it out, write your name. You'll be good.
Yeah. I'll put that on the list to use the correct new last name.
There you go. You'll forget for a while.
You know, and that okay. So that does bring up on the serious side a little bit of a kind of what Randy was saying, talking to your spouse. You know, there has to be your whys have to be a personal thing, but if you are in a relationship with somebody else or you're married, I mean, your whys have to align with each other too. I mean, there has to be some kind of a joint why.
Yeah. And that's not always easy.
No. It's cool you guys have the why as the topic, because last Tuesday at the pre-conference symposium that Zach and I were at, they covered holistic management, you know, in regards to ranching and farming. And they really covered a lot of the human element, which is the why. Why are you getting into regenerative ag or holistic management? Why is soil health important to you? Why is animal health, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
But then the human, you know, they talked, and it was a husband wife presenters, and they discussed neither one of them, she's not from ranching, he was from ranching, but he had no desire to go back to the ranch after high school and college. Both of his parents, it was a small enough ranch that both of his parents had to have an off ranch job, and then they did the ranching nights and weekends and holidays. And so he didn't want that for his life and his family. And so they told the story of how they actually ended up with the ranch. And then when they went and approached and talked to his parents, you know, what are you guys going to do? What are you thinking? And why are you thinking retirement? And both of them, you know, she goes, the wife, his mother, I want to retire and travel. And, you know, so no cows. And the husband, the guy's dad, he's like, well, I'm going to retire to the ranch and get more cows. So they had to work through their whys to be on the same page. And of course, then fast forward, that led to the son and his wife having their family on the ranch and them taking over the ranch, so that then his dad can still help out whenever, but they also have the freedom to travel and go spend a month in Arizona or Texas, whatever, because the son and his family have taken over. But it was interesting. They talked through that, how they came to those whys with their parents, and what the transition looked like. So it still all comes back to that why.
Yeah. That's a great example, Brittany, because there's a lot of families who just don't take the time to do that and to get it right. They just don't.
Yep.
And so tell us a little bit about the conference. Why did you go to the conference? Why are you interested in that space?
I went obviously to hear some different things, catch up with people that we knew and met last year, meet some new people, see what kind of connections we can make there in that world, in that space. It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's a well-rounded conference where they bring in, and us obviously, like this year, the human element, and even from the speakers in the breakout sessions, I heard a lot more about the why. So I wonder if that's not finally starting to hit some people, in that it's not just about the how, it's not just plant XYZ cover crop and do this and do that. It's a lot of the speakers said you need to know your why you're doing it, which was great. But it's a well-rounded conference where they have the animal and the soils. It's not just the soils and agronomy like a lot of other ones are that we attend or have been to.
Right, right. Well, it's really interesting, Brittany, when you think about uh, that comment of why, because, well, if you remember, this has been 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago now. We did a training session, and I don't remember if it was you or it was at one of the farmer grower meetings, but the subject was know your why before you buy, right? Know your why before you buy. And it was around the subject of water management, of course, and precision agriculture and things of this nature. And when you really understand why you're doing something, you're bought in. And that's probably in the space of health, whether it's the human health, animal health, which all relates back to all of soil health, all of animal health, all of that stuff relates back to our health ultimately at the end. And that's a big reason to know your why before you buy. But if you're going to be doing this in a business space and making business decisions, and farming and agriculture is a business, you want to know your why before you buy, because here's the real reason: when you can answer the why for yourself, you're bought in. You're bought in. And that's a big difference. You are bought in. And if you cannot answer why you're buying a cover crop, or why you're doing this, or why you're doing that, if you cannot answer the why, you're not bought in. And that's a problem. That's
Agreed.
a problem. So we've got to be able to get serious about this why component. So Rebecca, as we begin to wrap this up for this session, what do you want to share with everybody as a wrap up around this subject of why?
Just know what it is and dig deep. I mean, the deeper you dig, the more invested I think that you'll be in it.
Yep.
Because and I'm very, I know it drives you nuts when you ask my why and I answer in 2 words, or because I said so. But you got to dig deeper. And it does it on a lot of decisions that you make in your life. I mean, it's not just the big decisions, even smaller decisions. You have to ask yourself why.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, know your why, and you will move forward very, very strong. It's why we actually do purpose statements instead of mission statements. Mission statements keep you very focused on what you do, which is important. I don't want to ever make light. This is something that a lot of people misunderstand about some of our teaching is we definitely have to focus on what we do every day. The what we do is important. It's how you get things done. But the bigger challenge is helping you and your team understand why you're doing it. If there's not a reason for you to get up in the morning and go to work with a bigger purpose than just getting a paycheck or getting the day done, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Right? Why am I doing this? I need that passion. I need that purpose in my life. I need a purpose bigger than this. And knowing your why when you get up in the morning and the reason that you go to work is critical. I know there's days, Rebecca, you've seen this with me. There's days when I'll just grind and grind and grind and grind. And next thing you know, I can become irritable and frustrated, which is a rare occasion, right? I mean, you understand that.
Uh,
Yeah. But it
mm,
happens. It happens. And the best thing I can do is take a walk, step away from it, and remind myself, why am I doing this? Why am I willing to put myself through the hard times? Why is this so important? And go back to the purpose. Go back to the big picture of why. When you understand the big picture of why and you are bought in, then you will fight for it. You will absolutely fight for it. And if you're not willing to fight for it, what are you doing? You've got to have a bigger reason to fight for something. And that's what I've found in my day-to-day life. It's like I'm going to fight for this because I know it's important, and it's important because of this and this and this. It's the purpose, the purpose. So that's my challenge to
yep.
everybody as we wrap up is know your purpose, know your why, be able to define it clearly so that you are able to live your life on purpose. And my friends, it'll change your world. It really, really will. So that's what I want to share with everybody. And so, Rebecca, let's wrap it up. Do you know what next week's going to be, or we'll send out an email accordingly?
We will send out an email. And like I
All
said,
right.
please check your spam if you don't see it. Um, so yeah, we're looking forward to next week.
All right. God bless, my friends. Make it awesome.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.